In the year 79, Mount Vesuvius buried a coastal villa under 20 meters of volcanic rock. Inside, 800 scrolls, carbonized, sealed, the only complete library to survive from the ancient world. For 270 years, we tried to read them. Most of what we tried, we destroyed. In 1752, Bourbon-era tunneling crews broke into the buried town of Herculaneum. Beneath the modern village of Herculaneum, they entered a luxurious seafront villa, mosaics, marble statues, frescoes, and what at first looked like blackened lumps of charcoal. What they had uncovered would become known as the Villa of the Papyri. Roughly 800 to 1,100 original scrolls in total. The collection is dominated by the work of one man, Philodemus of Gadara, a Greek Epicurean philosopher of the 1st century BC. What is certain is this: the heat of the eruption did something paradoxical to the scrolls. It carbonized them. It baked them into a sealed charcoal state that, against every probability, kept them from rotting for 2,000 years. Reading a carbonized scroll is not like reading a damaged book. It is like trying to read a brick. For the first half-century after the discovery, scholars tried whatever they could. The early curator, Camillo Paderni, sliced hundreds of scrolls in half lengthwise to transcribe what little visible text remained inside. In 1756, a Vatican librarian named Antonio Piaggio invented a different approach. His machine used silk threads to peel back the outer layers of a scroll at a rate of a few millimeters per day. It worked, in a sense. By the mid-20th century, 585 scrolls had been fully unrolled, 209 partially, but every scroll the machine touched lost its outer surface, the surface that contained the beginning of the text. According to the papyrologist Michael McCosker of UCL, no scholar alive today has ever read the first sentence of a Herculaneum text. Only the first surviving sentence. Modern technology should have solved this. It didn't. The ink is carbon. The papyrus, after carbonization, is also carbon. Under X-ray, they look identical. The text is there. The scanner cannot see it. In 2016, a team using phase contrast X-ray tomography at the European Synchrotron Radiation Facility in Grenoble pushed through that limit. Their technique was sensitive not to chemistry, but to the physical thickness of the ink layer, a few microns rising above the surface of the papyrus. They produced the first non-destructive recovery of Greek letters from a sealed Herculaneum scroll. The text was attributed to Philodemus. That same year, a second team found trace lead in the ink, the first heavy metals documented in Herculaneum writings. Some scrolls imaged more easily than others. The path was visible. The breakthrough was not. In March of 2023, a computer scientist at the University of Kentucky decided to crowdsource the rest. His name is W. Brent Seals. He had spent a decade trying to read the scrolls virtually. With Nat Friedman and Daniel Gross, he launched the Vesuvius Challenge. More than $1.7 million to anyone who could read a sealed scroll. They released 11.5 terabytes of high-resolution CT scans, accumulated over 2 decades, under a Creative Commons license. Open data. Anyone could try. 7 months later, in October of 2023, a 21-year-old computer science student named Luke Ferreter identified the first word from an unopened scroll. Greek, 5 letters, porphyries, purple. Ferreter received $40,000. 4 months after that, on the 5th of February 2024, 3 contestants, Ferreter, Yusef Nader of Berlin, and Julian Schilliger of Zurich, won the grand prize, $700,000. Together, they had deciphered over 2,000 Greek characters, 15 columns of text, approximately 5% of one scroll. The text was a previously unknown work of philosophy, almost certainly by Philodemus. It discussed pleasure, specifically, whether things that are scarce are more pleasant than things that are abundant. The author concluded they were not. As too in the case of food, the text reads, we do not right away believe things that are scarce to be absolutely more pleasant than those which are abundant. The first new sentence of Greek philosophy in 2,000 years was a meditation on whether scarcity makes us happy. 2 months later, on the other side of Italy, a different team read a sentence that had been hidden in plain sight for 2 centuries. It described the burial of Plato. The papyrologist Graziano Ranocchia of the University of Pisa had been working not on the unopened scrolls, but on one that had been partially unrolled centuries earlier, Philodemus's History of the Academy. Using infrared and X-ray imaging, his team revealed roughly 1,000 new Greek words in the manuscript. According to the text, Plato was buried in a private garden near the sacred shrine to the Muses, within the Platonic Academy at Athens. This is the most specific location for Plato's grave preserved in any ancient source. The same passage also revised the date of Plato's enslavement on Aegina, placing it in 404 or 399 BC, earlier than the previously accepted 387. The garden itself has not been excavated. The site of the Academy in modern Athens lies under a public park, only partially accessible. Then in February of 2025, the work moved north. The Bodleian libraries at Oxford hold 3 Herculaneum scrolls. One of them, catalogued PHerc 172, was scanned in July of 2024 at the Diamond Light Source, the United Kingdom's national synchrotron facility at Harwell. In February of 2025, the AI processing was complete. The team published the first ever image of the scroll's interior. Multiple columns of Greek, about 26 lines per column. The first translated word was diatrope, disgust, appearing twice on the first visible page. The villa of the Papyri has not been fully excavated. An estimated 2,800 square meters of the structure remain buried beneath a town hall, a police station, and 20 meters of volcanic deposit. The scrolls discovered in 1752 came almost entirely from one room. Scholars believe this was the working philosophical library of Philodemus, the Greek section. Roman villas of this scale typically had a second collection, a Latin library. Roman poetry, history, possibly speeches by Cicero, possibly works by authors we know today only by name. The size of the unexcavated section is large enough to accommodate it. The Italian authorities have not authorized new excavation. The cost, the conservation risks, and the modern infrastructure above the site make the operation impractical. And so the question, what else is down there, remains exactly that, a question. In July of 2025, the European Research Council awarded 11.5 million euros to a consortium led by SEALs and the papyrologist Federica Nicolardi of Naples. The project is called Unlost, 6 years, hundreds of scrolls, a program to read what we already have, while the library we cannot reach waits beneath modern Herculaneum. 20 centuries after the eruption, the picture is this. Approximately 300 scrolls remain physically unopened. Some may be too fragile or too damaged for any imaging technique we currently possess. The text decoded by the Vesuvius challenge is 5% of one scroll. The other 95% is unread. The other scrolls are largely unread. The Latin library, if it exists, is unexcavated. We do not know what diatrope, disgust, referred to in the Oxford scroll. We do not know what porphyrus, purple, referred to in the first decoded word. Without the surrounding text, neither passage has a determinable meaning in context. We do not know what was happening in the villa in the hours before the eruption. The library was intact, organized. Whether anyone was present, whether anyone tried to save the scrolls, we cannot say. We do not know whether Epicurus's Complete on Nature, a 37-book treatise that survives only in fragments, is among the unopened scrolls. And we do not know whether the Italian government will ever authorize new excavation. What we know is this. For 270 years, we tried, mostly by force, to read a library that did not want to be read. And in the last 2 years, that started to change.